Sensei, right?
The style that I do is Shotokan karate, traditional Japanese Shotokan karate. Traditional is quasi a strange word because it began in 1920 in Japan. It came from Okinawa. But what I like about the style is its dynamic, explosive movement, and the sense of power you get from connecting to the floor into your body and generating the energy out. It's a huge amount of force and power, explosive power, but in a very soft and subtle way. Just touch. So you're here and in. Just come back. Light, quick, and move in. As a young man, I was influenced by films that I'd seen, and Bruce Lee, of course. And there was a film called A Manchurian Candidate, which starred Lawrence Harvey and Frank Sinatra. And there was a very brief fight scene in that using karate. And I was awestruck. Sending off. Yeah, that was good. How'd that feel? It's nice. Yeah, it felt a little different. Yeah. The karate way, the do, is to treat everybody with respect. And you don't always get it back, but that's what you try to do. That's what you attempt. I've trained since I'm 15 years of age, pretty much all the time. So I've always had the drive to train. And I think there's a health benefit to being in good shape. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be healthy, but at least maybe the quality of life is good. Heat! So just right now, send. I generally train about 4 times a week with karate. I usually train partially with my classes on Monday and Wednesday. I have an advanced training session with a lot of my black belts on Sunday. And I try to get in maybe 2 mornings a week. You're going to finish. My size push. Responsibility in martial arts is to be like anybody that does anything that's combative or serious, to be a good member of society, to take what you know, to teach it to children, to adults correctly, so that they can benefit through good exercise, proper habits as far as working out, training, and understanding that what they're learning is a skill and a based on a philosophy that's not about violence or beating people up. It's about learning skills that you can use to defend yourself, but also to make yourself a better person. Get out of anything in life what you put into it. And training karate can really enrich your life emotionally, physically, mentally, psychologically. Doing a training session, you walk out soaking wet, but you've got this mental alertness that you just don't get doing something else. It's different than any other sport. It's unique. It's equal on both sides of the body. It's intense. It's everything.
Sensei, right?
The thing that inspired me really was my brother started first, and I was little and I wanted to be like my big brother, so I nagged until they let me in and let me go to karate. And then after a while, my Shihan was really great, but his instructors, and this is a common problem in martial arts, are not taught to instruct. They're just kind of told, run a class, and it just started to leave a bad taste, so I quit that. And then I was looking around for something else, and I saw a documentary on Kung Fu, and I thought, wow, if I could move like that, imagine what I could do with it. Unfortunately, I have had to use the self-defense side. My wife's also had to use the self-defense side, so in that capacity, it helps. But a lot of it's just keeping yourself calm, healthy, which a lot of the new modern stuff doesn't really go into, about keeping your body, doing exercise that keeps it sustainable, something you can keep doing that'll keep you healthy for your whole life, and just mentally sound. Because too many times, I mean, you think about it, you go from one room, you're looking at a screen. You go to work, you're looking at a screen. You go home, you look at a screen. Whereas you're not taking any time to sit there and examine yourself. And really, like, as a martial artist, you gets your head out of that and just tries to, keep things clear. And the hardest part about that is, as a student, the martial arts like sometimes makes you jittery because you want to get good so badly. But then when you hit a certain level, it's just more like you realize you're doing most of it for yourself and to keep yourself sane, happy, healthy, and put together.
Hey, wait a minute. 2, 3. Hey, up. 2, 3. Go. Yeah, hold.
Specifically with Kung Fu, one of the biggest challenges is people watch too many movies, and you end up with this vision of what a Kung Fu master is supposed to be, and it's one of the things I encounter a lot when people talk to me, and it's accessibility. Like, people don't think it's accessible, and our role models, like that would be like, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't do that, it's too difficult, but then you're like, that's like not playing basketball because you saw Michael Jordan and you're like, I'm never gonna be like Michael Jordan. And it's like, that's one of the challenges, is the bar is sometimes physically set so high that people don't realize it can be modified for you. You can, like with our workouts, if someone's not feeling well, whatever, or if they're older, we take out the jumps. You don't have to jump around. That's actually for the younger guys. And then as you get older, letting it age with you, and then realizing if you come in at 50, you're not doing it like a 20-year-old. And that's a challenge. And as a martial artist who's getting a little older, you start going, okay, I can't do as much of this anymore. I can't, doing a backflip maybe is not a good idea anymore. Things like that. It's challenging for the artist because we age, and some of us had like a very high skill level when you're young, and it was based so much on physicality that when that starts to wane a little as you get older, it kind of kills you inside. And for someone that's older coming in, they see the young guys jumping around, they're like, oh, I want to do that, and it's just accepting that, again, it's got something for you, but you may not be Jet Li, you may not be Bruce Lee, you're going to be you, and that's okay.
What inspired me, or what pushed me in the direction to chase the combat art? I've been I was in security pretty much my whole adult life, and I was looking for an exercise that would complement my business, my lifestyle as a bodyguard, as a chauffeur. And I also wanted something that was challenging my mind, and the math could be explained to me. I didn't want to go do something that they said, hey, this is the way we do it, and just copy us. Down low and coming back up high. Body rotation. I was lucky enough to step onto a mat controlled by Ron Mizrahi. He's a guardian of the art. He's been doing it since he's 6 years old. And I've been with him probably going on about 12 years now. And the beautiful thing about Krav Maga is they're never going to tell you because I said so. They can show you the math of why it works.
1, right side E-line, I said that. 2, 3.
There are different trees of Krav Maga, but there's only one original tree, and if you do the research, I'm part of that tree. And I was lucky enough to meet Ron Mizrahi again, and I was determined enough to stay because it's not a free ride. We don't get any Krav Maga Federation instructor cannot issue his own student a belt unless there's extenuating circumstances. You're in the middle of nowhere and nobody's coming to test your students. And even then, you're already a black belt, so nobody's going to question your ability to discern whether or not that student or that person is qualified. But doing that, we keep it much more pure.
2 knuckles from the back fist, but I'm gonna take a step before I do it. I find my target, I engage my whole body, I come to the left side and I hit full speed, I find him, bah, and then I'm ready.
My favorite part of Krav Maga is, I believe, more than 90% of the public can do it if they try. They probably wouldn't get to the upper ranks, not everybody, because there's a price to pay. just like everybody joins the military in Israel for 2 years, and they do their part for their country. I think if you trained in Krav Maga at least for 3 months, and maybe even just get the first rank, finish something, finish the first level, and it will change you forever, because it's also going to show you what you're capable of. And people think the 250-pound man has a different problem than the 100-pound girl. That might be the case if it's a fist fight. But if I give somebody a razor blade, then I have the same problems that the girl has. I don't want that razor blade touching me. But if you were practicing all along never to get punched, then you also don't get cut because the hand didn't touch you. I learned not to let that hand get to my body. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Is it possible? Absolutely.
Well, I was introduced to the martial arts by a young Puerto Rican instructor. His name was William Rios. We were both youth workers in East Harlem in 1975, and we were both veterans. He was in the Marine Corps, I was in the Army, and we talked one day, and he told me that he'd been in the martial arts since he was young, and he wanted to start a dojo in East Harlem to help, because our working population was gangs of East Harlem and unaffiliated youth. And I always wanted to take the martial arts, and so I signed up as his first student. And our first dojo was in a gang clubhouse, the Harlem Renegades. And it was nice. And I was with him. I practiced with him for 4 years, but at the same time, he encouraged me to look into Aikido and Tai Chi. And eventually, I stopped practicing karate, Tang Soo Do, Korean karate, and devoted full time to Aikido. Teaching in martial arts is probably used about every day because Aikido teaches you how to not so much deal with conflict situations, but how to even out situations that are conflicting. What I like best is that we concentrate on basic technique. Okay, there's not as many techniques as there are in maybe jiu-jitsu or stuff like that, but there are myriad attacks. So all different kind of attacks. And what we're really learning through the techniques is to use a principle of non-resistance, a principle of circularity, and you can sum up the strategy of Aikido with 3 shapes: triangle, circle, and square. The triangle being the direction or focus of attack. A circle is how we deal with those attacks, and the square is a stabilization of internal energy and applying that to technique. And so we're constantly practicing to use less and less of our muscular, physical energy and using just the internal energy that comes out from good practices like proper breathing, meditation, and centralization of posture.